Okay, imagine this. One of the world's most advanced, stealthiest fighter jets. We're talking a multi-million-pound marvel.
Right. State of the art.
And it makes an emergency landing. Not on some secure military base, no, but at a regular civilian airport, thousands of miles from the UK.
Yeah, quite the scenario.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into this really curious case of the British F-35B Lightningator that got stuck down in Kerala, India. We want to unpack for you the technical problems, the security worries it kicked up, some surprising diplomacy.
Yeah, and the fallout back home, reputational fallout.
Exactly. It all started June 14th, 2025. This specific F-35B, it was part of the HMS Prince of Wales Carrier Strike Group, Operation High Mast.
Right, deployed.
And it had to divert to Thiruvananthapuram International Airport.
Yeah.
Low fuel, bad weather, standard diversion reasons.
But what happened after it landed? That's where the real story begins, isn't it?
That's what we're digging into. So the jet lands perfectly fine. Emergency procedure followed. Textbook landing. Crisis over, you'd think.
Well, not quite.
Not quite. Because what happened next, right there on the tarmac, it turned this whole thing into, well, an international incident, really.
Yeah, it developed a critical hydraulic system failure on the ground.
Right, after landing safely. And this wasn't minor. It rendered the jet completely inoperable.
No, hydraulics are crucial. Landing gear, brakes, flight controls, essentially grounded. Couldn't move it, couldn't fly it.
And the UK repair teams tried, right? Multiple attempts. They even flew in Lockheed Martin experts, I read.
They did, but still no luck. It proved much trickier than anticipated.
So for 2 weeks, this incredibly advanced, sensitive piece of kit is just sitting there, exposed to the Kerala monsoon rains, too.
Which is not ideal, let's say. And initially, the UK actually said no to India's offer of a hangar.
That surprised me. Why? We'll get to that. Eventually, they did agree to move it inside.
Right, but the final call, they had to partially dismantle it.
Dismantle a stealth fighter on foreign soil. Wow. And then fly it back home using a C-17 Globemaster.
A huge logistical operation.
So, beyond just the broken hydraulics, what else is going on here? What are the layers?
Well, you hit on it earlier. The security context is just fascinating. I mean, you have this incredibly sensitive stealth aircraft.
Top secret tech.
Exactly. Grounded, not in a NATO country, but in India, which, has historical ties to Russia.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That raises eyebrows immediately.
Instantly. You had UK lawmakers, Conservative MP Ben Obiesekti, for instance, voicing concerns, worried about technology, compromise, espionage.
Understandable. So they had guards, right? Both British and Indian.
Oh, yes. Round the clock, RAF personnel, and India's CISF. But that initial decision, leaving it out in the open,
Instead of taking the hangar offer.
it really highlights just how deep that UK anxiety about potential spying ran. Extreme caution.
But paradoxically, you mentioned India's role was actually positive.
Absolutely. Despite that underlying, let's call it a trust differential on the most classified tech, India provided what was described as first-class support.
Like,
Well, immediate landing clearance through the Indian Air Force's command system, the IACCS, continuous security, logistical help. It actually ended up being a successful, if unintended, test of the India-UK strategic partnership.
Interesting. So it kind of reinforced ties in a weird way.
It seems so, yeah, despite the sensitivity.
Okay, let's circle back to that hangar decision, though. From a listener's view, if you're that worried about spying, why leave a stealth jet outside in the rain? Isn't an Indian hangar, even if not perfectly secure by UK standards, better than just open air?
It's a really good question, and it shows the dilemma, right?
Yeah.
My read is it likely boiled down to control. Absolute physical control. Meaning, even in a less physically secure spot like the open tarmac, they had total direct oversight. Putting it in a hangar, even a guarded one, might imply some level of shared access or at least reduce direct line of sight for their personnel, 247.
So the risk of someone getting close inside the hangar was perceived as greater than the sort of environmental risk outside?
Potentially, yes. Or at least a different kind of risk they felt less able to manage initially. It speaks volumes about how protective they are of that stealth tech.
Right. Okay. Now, beyond security, there was this whole other angle. The public image, the reputation side.
Oh, definitely. For the UK, this was awkward, let's be frank.
Yeah, having your cutting-edge 90 million fighter grounded for weeks, that's a significant operational hit for the carrier strike group.
Huge. And it immediately brought back all the scrutiny about the F-35 program's ongoing issues with availability rates globally. It's been a long-standing concern.
So undeniably embarrassing on the international stage for the UK military and the program. But then you have the Indian side, specifically Kerala's tourism department. What did they do?
This was brilliant, actually. Pure marketing genius in a way. They seized the moment.
Oh, no.
They created this AI-generated poster that went viral. It had a spoof review, supposedly written by the jet.
By the F-35. What did it say?
Something like, Kerala is such an amazing place, I don't want to leave. Definitely recommend.
Huh. That's clever. Turning a grounded fighter jet into a tourism advert.
Exactly, or a real masterstroke in flipping the narrative locally.
Okay, so we've covered the tech, the security, the PR. What about the cost? This must have been expensive beyond the parking fees.
Oh, absolutely. The parking fees themselves were, relatively speaking, small change. About, what, INR 26,000 a day? Maybe 5,000 pounds total for the 20 days or so it was there?
Peanuts compared to the jet's value.
Precisely. The real financial hit comes from everything else. Flying in that big specialist engineering team, 30, 40 people.
Yeah, specialists.
All the specialized diagnostic and repair equipment they needed. And then the cost of tasking a C-17 Globemaster, a massive transport plane, to fly out there, load up the dismantled F-35 and fly it all the way back to the UK. That's hugely expensive.
Not to mention the jet itself being out of action.
Exactly, the opportunity cost.
Yeah.
You have this incredibly high-value strategic asset completely unavailable for operations for weeks, potentially months, depending on repairs back home.
So this whole incident really underlines the hidden costs, the massive logistical tail, as you call it, that comes with deploying advanced military tech globally.
It really does. It shows that things can go wrong in unpredictable ways. And the resources needed to fix them can be immense, far exceeding the initial problem. It challenges strategic planning.
So wrapping this deep dive up, this F-35 story in Kerala, it started as a technical glitch, a diversion. But it quickly spiraled, didn't it? It touched on operational readiness, complex security fears, unexpected diplomatic cooperation, even viral marketing.
A real case study in modern military complexities.
Indeed.
So thinking about what this means for you, the listener, maybe consider this, how even the most advanced, stealth-focused technology designed to be invisible can suddenly become this incredibly visible public spectacle when faced with a real-world problem. A simple failure exposes vulnerabilities way beyond its technical design.
Makes you think.
What does that tell us about projecting military power, projecting technology in a world that's so interconnected, so transparent now, something to mull over?